Hey, you're here.
Please clap.
Oh, son of a bitch.
MAGAs, Proud Boys, what have you. Fucking liberals.
Tyler and Joseph ditch class, so Pete gives some of his favorite physical media titles that are worth your time and your money.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call. Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kim left to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your solo host for today, Pete. And Joseph and Tyler are both out sick. So I'm just doing this thing solo on my own. So this will be interesting. So Tyler had what turned out to not to be COVID 2 weeks ago. I guess 1 week ago for you guys. And we weren't sure if he was going to be back this week. And then Joseph started getting sick midweek. And I just said, let's not do this. Brianna is a terrible hypochondriac. And even if they were kind of on the edge, about ready to go, come back or whatever, probably better off to just keep isolating. So there's like 3 really nasty bugs that are going around Sacramento right now. I got 1 day where I felt like hell last week and kind of bounced back. So who knows if that was allergies or air quality from the fires in Southern California or not. But either way, you got me. I'm here. I'm kind of not sure where to look. I don't know if I'm going to be looking here directly at the camera because I don't have Tyler and Joseph to look at, or directly, at the monitor right in front of me. So this will be an interesting experiment for everybody who's participating live. Chime in the chat. I may not be able to respond as quickly as normal, obviously just because I'm doing, a lot of things at once, juggling the video, juggling the audio, and ultimately juggling what's going to be some physical media that I want to showcase for you guys. So the normal format of the show, if this is your first time watching or listening, is that we would talk about Gavin Chatter. We would do movie news, whatever we wanted to talk about that week, upcoming projects, celebrities that are in hot water, whatever it may be. But in lieu of that today, I'm just going to be showing off some physical media that I think is worth your time and or your money. So I've kind of broken this up into a few different categories, and I'm a big proponent of physical media for a few reasons. Number one, it's a relatively affordable art, as maybe pretentious as that sounds. If you were to buy an original art piece from a gallery, you're talking a few $100s to many hundreds of thousands of dollars for, different types of art pieces, and they enrich your life. You have them up in your house or your work or whatever, bedroom, whatever, and you get to look at this thing that brings you joy on a regular basis. Tyler regularly mentions Claude Monet as his sort of one of his favorite artists. And Brianna she went to art school. She majored in graphic design and loves a lot of classical art. Van Gogh, I think it's Van Gogh. I'm not sure, but Vincent Van Gogh, loves him. She's a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe. Obviously not a physical artist, but a poet. And the physical media that you're purchasing is ownership of art. And if you have a streaming service that you can go to watch, I don't know, take a TV series like Scrubs or something. You love Scrubs, you watch it before bed, it's a comfort show or whatever. The second that Peacock or Paramount Plus decide to take it off of their streaming service or whatever, you have no access to that anymore. Unless it's syndicated and it's on TV and you just happen to catch it or whatever, you don't have access to any of that. What's up, Bruce? Thanks for chiming in the chat. So if you have the physical copy of the movie that you love, and it's a movie that brings you great joy, or it sparks thoughts, it's thought-invoking, or it's a movie that you watch when you just feel sad, because there's a number of those movies too that I love. If you have the physical copy, you can watch it anytime you want. And you get that bad breakup or tough day at work, whatever, and you could put on that sad movie that brings you down and then is like a palate cleanse to hit the Etch-a-Sketch, shake it, and start over again. Or a movie that just brings you great emotion in a different way. Like for me, it's one of my favorites is Whiplash. Love watching it. Love the music. Every single time it gets to me on a very deep level. And that crescendo near the end when the finale hits is no matter how many times I've seen it, which is probably at least 20 at this point. It's still that finale, the crescendo of the drum solo, and seeing his dad look back at him, as this I had no idea look that Paul Reiser has it's so fantastic. And the look between Terrence Fletcher and Andrew Neiman, the knowing glance, and then thinking, well, what's next? And then thinking, was he right to push him this far or was he not? So those are the things that, like, if I never could watch Whiplash again in my life, I feel like my life would be worse. And that's not an exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. I feel like that is 100% accurate. So I'm going to show off some of the things that I have. Hey, what's up, Dal? Dal's in the chat. He says, yes, Whiplash, goosebumps every time. I think I cry almost every time I watch that scene. Not full on bawling, but just tears, because it's just so good. It's just so good. And I had a recent live drum performance I went to that I talked about on last week's episode from the last episode in July or January. So check that out if you want to hear more about that. So I'm going to go through some basic physical media stuff, and then some more kind of obscure stuff, and then some box sets, and some, Bruce says, add vinyl records to the list of art, 100%. And I do have a vinyl record I'm going to showcase too. It's so funny you say that. I was literally just about to say that. So first up, for most people, they'll collect, DVDs, Blu Rays, whatever it is that is your physical media of choice. I've been gravitating more towards 4K and VHS in the last few years. And this may seem kind of stupid, but keep in mind, there are people that collect Stanley mugs and will have, 45 of different colors of the same mug, and they never drink out of any one of them. And they all just sit on a shelf taking up space, and they're all $85 a piece for a freaking cup. So no disrespect, but that seems strange to me. I have 2 copies here of one of my favorite movies, American Psycho. And this is directed by Mary Harron, starring Christian Bale, of course, playing Patrick Bateman, the titular American Psycho. My favorite line in the movie is when Willem Dafoe looks at him and says, "You're him. You're the American Psycho." And then he kills him. So this is a German release. And I bought this because I freaking love the steelbook art. Look at that. That is cool. And it's a steelbook. There's nothing super special about it. The inside has a little bit of artwork too. Love that. just very cool. I really loved the artwork. It's one that I showcase on the not in like the main collection. It's out on the shelf so people can see it, and I just love this. This is the silhouette of the city a little bit down here, kind of some kind of splatter work, and then him screaming. I thought that was great, but this one's even cooler. This is another steelbook, and I'm not a fan of slipcases. I generally just take them off and huck them in the trash if the artwork is the same on the slipcase as it is on the actual regular case, the hard case. But this one has let's go this way. It has him taking the skin off. Freaking love that. So here's cool ass Christian Bale with the streaks that look like the American flag. You see the little stars here on the back. And on the inside, more artwork. Let me take these discs out. Can't see much on this side, but you have there you go. Oops, this way. The business card, Patrick Bateman, Vice President. So this is, this one right here is the 4K version, this steelbook with the plastic slip, transparent slip. And I just thought this was one of the coolest designs. I really love it when graphic designers have a lot of fun with their stuff. Peeling the skin peel off. Very cool. So I got 2 copies of that. Love that. You can get the German one. I had to get on eBay. It's an import, obviously. And and then this regular steelbook one, this is just by Lionsgate. There's nothing super special about this. It's not by a specialty boutique label or anything like that. Next up, newly released 7 by David Fincher, 4K steelbook. And you can see this one. You can probably hear it. It's got that really cool matte finish on it. And interesting artwork. It doesn't really 100% meet perfectly for me for like the actual feel of the movie. It doesn't look like traditional artwork from the movie, but I don't hate it. I bought this one mainly because I love the physical feel of the steelbook. It's awesome. But mainly specifically because it's 4K, and I think this is the first time 7's been released in 4K. If not, I know this is a rescan because it's all completely fresh, and this looks so good. It looks so good. We watched it midday, even without in the darkness of, helping the picture quality for a dark movie like this, and it just looked super fantastic. Dallas in the chat. I wish that more movie posters had art this interesting. Yeah, that's right. The alternative poster scene is a whole nother thing. I love that. People make alternative posters that are just sometimes 10 times better than the original poster. And then Dallas also asked, do you have any issues with region locking when importing? Not really. There's most of the ones that I do import, I only have 2 or 3, are 4K, and 4K is region free. So if it's a Blu Ray or a DVD or something like that, then it won't play on, and I play everything on my PlayStation 5. PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 both seem to be fine with it. But I did buy what I thought was an authorized, some sort of fan cut, or I guess unauthorized fan cut of Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 together as like the whole bloody affair from somebody online. And I tried to play that on my PlayStation, and it got halfway through and basically bricked. So it does, from time to time, something like that will happen. But none of the German imports or sort of European, UK ones I've had any issues with. If it was a Blu-ray, I think that it wouldn't play on the PlayStation, though. So you'd have to get a special player for that, which I do not have. All right, so that was David Fincher's 7. Again, this is just a Warner Brothers standard release 4K steelbook, and it is really good. The picture quality is great. Okay, next up, from Arrow Video, a great label, boutique label. I don't want to even say this is necessarily a boutique label anymore. They've become so big. And this one, here's the slipcover, and here is the case art. Special art made just for this release. And it looks great. The artwork looks great. This one comes with, when you pop it open, it comes with a couple things, physical things. Number 1, a book that has a number of essays in here. It says, there's a essay called "It Was Empathy Killed the Beast, How Jennifer Lopez Redefines the Genre Film Heroism Through Radical Understanding. Remember It's Not Real, Music Video DNA in the Cell" by Heather Drain. There's like 5 or 6 different small pieces in here. And they're just basically opinion pieces that people will write, and they'll commission people to write it. How you get in here, I don't know. How you become the person who writes these things, I couldn't tell you. But I know somebody who does, and I'm going to talk about him a little bit later. And then this also comes with a poster, double-sided poster, one of the slipcover and one of the case artwork. And this is a really cool physical release. Put this stuff back in here. 2-disc set. This is a 4K. And one of them, I think one of them is Blu Ray. Yeah, one of them's a Blu Ray option and one of them's a 4K option. So a lot of releases will do that. You'll get both in there. So you get two for the price of one. If you really wanted to, you could give one away, but, you know, just keep them together. So that's straight from Arrow Video. This one just came out. This is my most recent pickup. It came in the mail, I think, 4 days ago or something like that. And it looked fantastic. We watched it the day it arrived. Brianna had never seen it before. And it was really, really good. Okay, let's see here. Bruce says, one of my favorite pieces of physical media is an old DVD copy of The Wicker Man. The cover is a wood box with the image of the Wicker Man burned into it. That's sick. I just got the Hundreds of Beavers wood box set. It hasn't arrived. They're still in production. They had quality issues with their first run of production, but it's one that's coming, and I'm super excited about it. It would be my only set that I have that has a wood box. And it is burnt. The image is burned into it as well. It's not printed. Also, speaking of old physical media DVDs or special edition DVDs, somebody at work gave me a box of movies because he just knows that, the type of person I am. And one of them was, I don't know if it was Waterworld. No, it wasn't Waterworld. I think it was either Dances with Wolves or one of those Kevin Costner movies from back then that was like 2.5, 3 hours long. That had an extended cut version of it that's over 3 hours long. And it's a full-on flip-out book, but it's a DVD. And it looks like it's leather bound, but it's clearly like puff pad, cardboard, tadboard sort of stuff. And I thought that was so funny. I'm like, this is a special edition DVD set. It seems so crazy. Watching something on DVD now is the sheer chasm between quality is so wild. Okay, and then next up is another movie that I have multiple copies of that I freaking love. It's one of my favorite movies. Is Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse. So this is a steelbook, one of my holy grail steelbooks that I had to buy used because it was special edition, out of print. Back has the seagull, the one-eyed seagull. Really cool. Inside, it's got the two of them. It's great. Love that. And this one I probably would have issues watching. I just bought it for the actual steelbook case. This is a Blu Ray, and it is European. This is a British version. Alternative version to that is, again, from Arrow. This is a small box set. So you get the actual disc case. Here we go. 4K. And then you get another sort of a book of different essays written by various people. On this one, it has 5 different special written pieces, and one of them is all specifically just about the actual transfer. So whenever you get something that tells you the specs about the transfer and all the special care that went into the transfer and how they scanned it and who oversaw it and all that kind of stuff, you're getting a really good copy of something visually. And this one does look fantastic. And just like Arrow, the last Arrow release, it has a poster, double-sided poster, one of the actual physical case and one of the slip case, the different styles. Looks like this one is the same, so I wonder what's on both sides. Let's see. Let's open it up and see. The artwork's the same on the slip and the main case, so poster for this has the artwork from the case. Oh, the theatrical release poster. Oops. There we go. Pretty slick. The only thing that bums me out about these is I'll never hang these up because of the folds. And wall space is limited, just to be honest. All right, let's put these back in here. Shows the two different versions of the Lighthouse, and then I have a third one. This is the A24 Special Edition. So I don't know what you'd call it, a box set either, but it's got this great book on the inside, and they have these for a number of these. I have the one for The Last Black Man in San Francisco. I have the one for The Green Knight, for Midsummer, and it's got a really cool like inset spot for the disc. Very deliberate, bound book, string bound book, which is awesome. And the book that's inside has, this is the best, easily the best release. Alternative artwork. These are storyboard images from Robert Eggers. Here's a storyboard image of the inside of the clockwork of the lighthouse. Image of the wiki looking into the light with glee, with the shirt off, and the sailboat or the schooner tattoo on his chest. These are patterns for the clothes that were made for the movie in this. So much cool stuff in here, and it just gives you an idea. It lets you scratch the surface just a little bit deeper onto a movie that you love, about like what it takes to produce a movie like that. It's so cool, and this one has a physical presence to it, just like the Arrow one does, but they're a little bit bigger, and if you see, here's the Arrow set next to the A24 set. It's physically larger, so it's a funky spot. It almost like begs you to put it on the shelf somewhere within view instead of just sliding it in with everything else in your collection. So those are the three options that I have. One, the Arrow release, one straight from A24, the special release, and then one that is just straight from Universal, looks like. Also, this other funky thing, which I have never gotten into this. So when I got this used, this is the UK release. Okay, when I got it used, it had this magnetic strip on the edge. And I thought, what the hell is that? What's the point of this? Since they're steelbooks, they're actually magnetic, so you can people make these magnetic strips. And I think it's for continuity, for visibility when you put it on the shelf. But the original spine just says the Lighthouse, Universal on top, and this one says the Lighthouse, Ultra HD 4K, and then A24 at the top. I don't really care about that, but it came on it, so it stays. Okay, and then lastly, of the kind of standard releases that are like mini box sets almost, this is Dread, another fantastic movie that I really love. Directed by Pete Travis, but really directed by Alex Garland. And this one, I believe, is from Manta. I don't really follow a whole lot of those super high-end labels because there's a number of labels that just release these fantastic and really expensive sets that I've seen people who have like every Manta box set, and you're like, you probably spent, I don't know, $50,000, $100,000 on this set of movies. Unbelievable. This one is one that I found for a pretty good price, and it's kind of another holy grail release of mine. So the box itself, I'll show you. It's got the great artwork on it. Carl Urban as Judge Dredd. The back is Mega City 1, the Peachtree Tower. And then inside the steelbook is a fantastic shield of the judge's shield, and it's embossed. It's got that raised lettering to it with the blood splatter on the back. Another really cool image of Dredd. And I think that M is the Manta M. I'm pretty sure. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But this one also comes with a great. This book here is, the paper quality is fantastic, and it comes with just stills from the movie that are pretty neat. Nothing you can't already see just as the film itself, but the quality of the image is really phenomenal, and it's just something fun to have. You could put this on your coffee table and let it flip, let people flip through it or whatever. What I like to do is when I watch a movie like this that I have a big physical release set for, if I'm watching, then some postcards too. That's fun. It'd be a special person to be able to take one of these postcards and send it to them. If I ever make it to Sundance or TIFF or something like that, I'll bring some postcards and send it to my movie friends from Toronto. But yeah, anyways, as I was saying, I like to pull the stuff out of the box when I'm rewatching a movie, and flip through the artwork and read the commentary stuff and read the special features as I'm watching the movie, because almost all of these movies are ones that I've seen many, many times before, and I just plan on watching them many times again. It looks like it's not Manta. Film Arena. It says Film Arena limited edition, 39 out of 500. Cool. Whatever it is, I like it. And it came with this interesting limited edition card, which, again, I don't really particularly care about. But I figure it came with the thing. I'm going to keep it. And I guess if it's ever times get tough and I end up having to sell some of this stuff, I'm sure that would be something that you're going to want to have or the next owner is going to want to have. So that's the only one that I have that has that. It's like this weird, like just a flat sheet of TAD board with the image on it and a credit card that says number 39 of 500. Okay. So those are the physical mini box sets or individual discs or whatever. Nothing super crazy special, but some really interesting stuff. And the movies themselves are just great. Every one of these. American Psycho, The Lighthouse, The Cell, Seven, and Dread. All right. On to... Oh, I got one more, too, that I wanted to talk about. So this is one that I got, The Flock. It's a found footage movie that came out some years ago. I don't know what year it actually came out. Let's see here. See if it even says on here. And it was re-released. This is from 2021. It was re-released this year as a director's cut. And the reason why I bought this kind of out of the blue, because this is a super low budget, very indie project, The Flock. It's about a cult called The Flock, and they're trying to bring back Moloch, I think is the name of the demon, who I feel like there was another horror movie that I saw called Moloch that was actually really, really solid and really well done. But this one's very indie, so you're not going to get a whole lot of crazy production value out of this. But I thought it was a good enough movie. The reason I bought the disc, though, sight unseen, blind buy, was that there's a special feature on the movie, on the disc, called "What Makes a Cult." Brand new visual essay from someone's favorite productions. And someone's favorite productions is the company is ran by the guy that owns Disconnected. He also has the Physical Media Advocate magazine, online magazine. And that special feature, What Makes a Cult, was written and produced and directed and performed by Jason Kleberg from Force 5 Podcast. And as soon as he posted about it, he said, I got my special feature, finally made it to a Blu Ray special feature. I said, gotta get it. So support the homies, buy The Flock, watch the special feature. It's all about various cults throughout the American history and some other countries, and then movies that tie into that, movie recommendations that tie into that. On the topic of the Physical Media Advocate, here is edition 12 of the Physical Media Advocate, of a literal online magazine turned physical that it has all kinds of interesting stuff. This one features the recent release of Todd Solondz's Happiness. Haven't seen the movie. I've heard it's a lot. Hey, what's up, Angry Otter? How you doing, buddy? Solo show today. Joseph and Tyler are sick. Okay, so again, I've heard about this, and I don't really keep magazines. I don't have a really place for them in my house necessarily. We use the coffee table for art projects and things like that. But this one also has a article written by Jason Kleberg. The Missing by Jason Kleberg, page 11. Let's take a look. Here we go. Missing, The Mysterious Disappearance of Special Features by Jason Kleberg. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Don't you love it when the homies are winning? So this has some talks about Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs and 4K discs and various different releases and why or why not there's special features and why it's a dying art. And I think the special features are fantastic. I don't always watch the special features or listen to them, but if it's a movie that I love or I find the movie fascinating, I absolutely do. I'll watch it, and then on rewatch I'll do the commentary track, which is awesome. On that American Psycho special edition with the slipcover, the cool slipcover, Mary Herron does a director's commentary 10 or 15 years after the movie is released and after the great success and after all the memes of business cards and all that kind of stuff. And it's really fascinating to hear her talk about it in retrospect and how the movie blew up and how it was made and all this kind of stuff. So that was great. And then one more thing. Again, I love it when the homies are winning. This is a vinyl record from the Pup Pups, a new album by the Pup Pups. And the Pup Pups are like a musical group from David Rosen featuring and about his pets. So David has just this magnetic, charming little gremlin of a dog named Harvey and a bunch of cats, and he's a dog dad through and through. And there was other albums. I can't remember. It was something about Schnackos was the last album. And I bought that. It's great. And it's all very fun, very like lighthearted sort of stuff. But David puts his heart into this stuff. And the songs are super fun and super catchy. And this one is called A Boy and His Dog and Three Cats and a Bear. And I think Bear is his nickname for his wife. I think. So really, really cool. And it's a legit vinyl. Check it out. There it is. And there's Harvey on the center. Love it. And here's the three cats on the B side. Super cool to have. David comes from a musical family. Obviously, he's a composer for film scores. He's composed a number of film scores. I think their family owns a record store in Las Vegas. And on this one, this is a special edition. Harvey actually autographed it with his paw right here. So yeah, bought that to support David. Awesome stuff. Keep doing what you're doing, David. I love it. Okay, on to the next category. Next category, VHS. This is one that I've only picked up in the last 5 years or so. I grew up on VHS. I was born in '86, and by the time I was old enough to watch movies, my parents started collecting VHSs. And when I say collecting, I mean like they had 10, until I was younger. And then they became more cheaper. You could get blank VHSs and tape TV shows. My dad would tape every episode of The Simpsons. And God, how I wish we still had those tapes, because we had literally every single episode since the beginning on tape with the commercials. Actually, most of the commercials were cut out. He prided himself on pausing it during the commercials so that he could fit an extra episode per tape or whatever. But we had racks and racks and racks of them in the living room of all the tapes, all the old Simpsons episodes, and through various moves and a divorce, they were gone. I don't know where they're at, so rest in peace. So here's some tapes that are available, authorized reproductions. These are not bootlegs. These are not unauthorized reprints or fan prints or anything. These are all straight from the manufacturer, straight from the vendor. So first one, a movie that feels like it's right at home on VHS, Come True. A horror sort of mystery movie that is, this is from Raven Banner. They produce a number of VHS movies. You can usually get them on, this one I think I got straight from Raven Banner's website. And then Witter Entertainment, Witter, is another one. But Come True is a really cool movie. It's very feels like very Cronenberg, has DNA from like Cronenberg in it. And it's about a young girl who's going through like sleep trials. And there's a physical sets that are built around the machines that are kind of helping her explore her dreams or nightmares. And it's really interesting and cool and mysterious. And, there's a cool you don't really know where it's going, and near the end, you kind of, the whole story sort of visual, comes to fruition, and it's pretty great. It's great stuff. It's a little bit of a vibe piece, so, you're not going to get action, crazy, sort of over-the-top stuff, but it's worth your time. Come True from Raven Banner on VHS. Love that one. Another one, this one is from Witter, is Relic. And this one is starring Emily Mortimer, Robin Devon, and Bella Heathcote. And this is from BrokeHorrorFans.com and Witter Entertainment. So BrokeHorrorFan.com, their Instagram is kind of dead now. I think he announced he's kind of stepping back from social media, but still doing some physical stuff. And this is a movie that hit me emotionally very well. It's another horror movie with a great emotional core to it. And I loved it so much when it first came out, and no one was really talking much about it. When I saw it was available on VHS, it was an instant buy. So that one's from Witter Entertainment. Another one from Witter Entertainment that begs to be on VHS is Deadstream. Yes, such a fun movie. A great Halloween movie. A great movie to watch with friends at a party. It's just so fun. It's about a YouTuber who's doing a live stream in a haunted house, and he thinks it's fake. His viewers obviously probably think it's fake, and he was canceled for some crazy stunts that he did because he's a dickhead YouTuber, and he did some stunt or flipped a police officer off, or I don't know, he did the Baby Moses challenge where he floated in a raft down a river and stuff. Whatever it was, he got canceled for it. All his sponsors pulled, and he's doing this retribution tour, and part of it is to go to a haunted house, and he live streams the whole thing. And of course, naturally, it is a real haunted house. As a demon comes out, and this is like Evil Dead for the 21st century. Evil Dead 2. I'm sorry, Evil Dead 2. It's so fun and over the top and campy, and it's done by Vanessa Winters and Joseph Winter, husband and wife duo. Wrote, produced, directed, and he stars in it, and it's so freaking good. So great one. Deadstream, available on witterentertainment.com or witterent.com, I think. Another one from Raven Banner just recently came out. Frankie Frico. It's a very fun one. Great movie for VHS. Love that. And for all you kids out there, this is what it looks like. It's a VHS tape. This used to be the pinnacle of physical media entertainment. And they're problematic. The medium does not allow for high-res video generally. There is HD VHS or something like that. Like, I can't remember what it's called, but it was like near the end of when DVDs took over. They're susceptible to mold. If you watch them too many times, they start breaking down. There's a lot of reasons why it's a dead media art or media format now, but it's not that dead because this came out like 6 months ago. So this is Frankie Frico. It's a great watch on VHS. Fun movie. I didn't love it as much as Psycho Goreman, but that's a really high bar to clear. This is a really interesting one, and again, you can get it from Raven Banner. Speaking of Frankie Frico, Psycho Goreman VHS, and this is in the puffy clamshell case, which is a lot of fun. Here's the tape. Love it. And it's in the classic, like, Disney era puffy clam case that everyone says, oh, I got the Little Mermaid one with the dick on the cover. It's worth $10,000. No, it's not. You don't have that. You don't have the black diamond, whatever. And this comes from the note inside. This is just a regular piece of paper. It's got Psycho Goreman kind of embossed on the inside there. And it says, if you're reading this, then you must mean that you have a VHS pan and scan copy of PG Psycho Goreman in your possession. Congratulations. This is similar to how I opened my letter in the Manborg VHS release almost a decade ago. It's fitting that this film is also getting a VHS release, since PG Psycho Goreman is a return to the style of Steven Kostanski DIY filmmaking, where my ambitions are only limited by how many dollar store miniatures and janky After Effects lasers I have time to cram into one movie. However, PG is a huge step up for Manborg, in that this time I had a team of talented artists and technicians to help execute my wacky vision. Without them, this film would not exist, etc., etc., etc. So, a little bit more about the movie, and now you can witness all the magic in the format most suited for a film of this caliber, the Video Home System, or VHS. Stay scared, Steven Kostanski. Love that. The other cool thing about these VHSs that people may not know is that usually at the very beginning or the very end, or both, there's a message from the filmmakers. So on the Deadstream one, at the very beginning, there's a little bit from Joseph Winters, and they talk about thanks for buying this VHS and, keeping this art form alive, and thanks for supporting independent film. And then at the end, there's behind the scenes how they did the creatures and how they did the monsters and the makeup and stuff. So just like a Blu Ray, you have special features. You just have to let it run. Finish the movie, let the credits go. Always watch through the end of the credits. And then you get the special features afterwards. So like on the Deadstream one, let's pull that back here. It doesn't even say what the special features are. It just says include special features. Look at that. So you just pop it in and see what happens, which is a lot closer to what watching movies and watching TV was like in the 80s and 90s. Angry Otter VHS was revolutionary when it came out. It beat out Laserdisc, even though I like them better because you didn't have to flip the disc. Yeah, Laserdisc was interesting too. People collect that stuff. The format's way too big. VHS is already big. Laserdisc huge. Okay, another VHS that comes from Witter Entertainment. This one's a special edition packaging, The Void. You can see a theme here. I love the Steven Kostansky stuff, and they partner with Witter. So this is a cool one because instead of having a puffy case, it's like a book. You open it up. You got this cool case and the blue cassette, the blue tape. Really, really fun. This one's got a couple special features as well. 90 minutes, 2016 color. What more do you need to know? Special features on this one. Introduction by actor Aaron Poole. Introduction by actor Mike Biscoff. Introduction by actor Evan Stern. Composer Martin McPhail. And then Nightmare Logic, The Making of the Void, which is at the end. Another really cool one that looks great on VHS. Anytime that you have like creature effects, they look better on a VHS. Mandy on a VHS special edition. Nicolas Cage, Andrea Riseborough. This is from brocorefans.com as well. This one is like a box. You have to pull it out, and then the clamshell puff case inside. And this one's great because it's got the red tape. Very cool. Love myself some Mandy. What a wild movie from... What's his name again? Let's see what the director's name is. I know it's a Greek dude. I can't remember his name. Panos Cosmatos. That's it. George Cosmatos' son. Very cool. So this one is also from brocorefans.net, which is Witter Entertainment. Between Raven Banner and Witter, you have pretty much a really good cross-section of VHS options for you. And there's not a ton of movies. It's generally boutique stuff, indie sort of stuff. A lot of horror, a lot of physical, practical effects and gore and stuff like that. But it's not everything like that. They have Turbo Kid on VHS, which I thought that was pretty good, but I know that's some people's jam. And then the last VHS I'm going to show is one of the dumbest ones I have. It's called Dead Till Death. Dead Till Death. And if you see on the cover, you can see that's a Liquid Death can on there, because this is a promotional video from Liquid Death. They have some of the most interesting advertising of any product out there right now. They sell coffins. They sell T-shirts. They sell one-star reviews. They sell anything they can sell that's weird and fits their aesthetic of their brand, they'll do. And this is no different. And this is an actual horror movie produced and filmed in association with Neighborhood Film Co., a film by Will Carsola, Sean Conway, Buddy Kane, Amanda Pinto, Zachary Bird, directed by Diane Heary, and that's casting. Either way, here's the back. After buying some cases of Liquid Death mountain water at a creepy general store, a group of friends are off to the mountains for a weekend of camping, partying, and reconnecting with nature. It's all fun and games until they become hunted by aluminum cans of water that are dead set on revenge. Once the cases are open, no one is safe from Liquid Death, and these bloodthirsty cans will stop at nothing to carry out their evil plan of murder, mayhem, and sustainability. And they think if I remember correctly, it's only 45 minutes long, but it's super fun. If I remember correctly, the aluminum cans come alive, and they try to kill these campers because they're using plastic water bottles instead of aluminum cans. Part of Liquid Death's whole thing is that aluminum is infinitely recyclable and plastic bottles are not, so you're doing better for the environment. It's a super fun concept. It's actually executed really well, and this is another fun one to pop on if you have friends over, because it's just so bizarre. So it's called Dead Till Death from Liquid Death. All right, now we're on to the last set of physical media. This is like the premier box sets. Angry Otter, and now Liquid Death is refreshing canned water choice at the supermarket. Yeah, that's right. I get that stuff all the time. When we have barbecues at the shop, we'll get a bunch of energy drinks, we'll get some sodas and stuff, and I always get a case of Liquid Death. So the people who don't want to drink sugary drinks or whatever can have something, crack open a can of water. And it's funny because it looks like you're drinking a beer, so some people are walking by like, are you guys drinking beer at work? No, we're not. Dallas, advertising with VHS tapes reminds me when Burger King made video games. Yeah, or Pepsi. You buy 24-pack of Pepsi, you get Pepsi Man, CD-ROM game for your PC. Okay. All right. So on to the premiere boxes. And some of these might have some overlap with the original ones, but like here's one from Arrow, another Arrow. Wild Things. This is a super comprehensive set. Great steelbook with great artwork. Really cool hand-drawn stuff. Inside, you got a bunch of character cards, which is fun. Oops, there we go. The 2 discs. And this is a 4K and a Blu Ray. The print on this is phenomenal. The quality of video on this is so freaking good. And the movie's really good too. I mean, I remember seeing like half of it when I was younger, and I think my parents were not happy about it. So a bunch of more sort of opinion pieces and behind the scenes sort of writings or whatever. Let's see if there's any list of special features on this. You know, that's the thing about most of these is their style over function, form over function. So you don't get like a list. The back is just, it's all for the aesthetic. Comes with a poster as well. Really good. This is one I really highly recommend, especially if you love the movie. If you don't love the movie, if you've never seen it before, it's a very sexual, sort of classic throwback to like the sexual thriller. Neve Campbell, Denise Richards, Matt Dillon, and Kevin Bacon. And it's set in Florida. It's one of the most Florida movies ever. It's really good. And from Arrow Video, the movies never looked better. It's super, super good quality. So that's Wild Things. They also have a True Romance box set that looks almost identical to that. I'm just not a huge fan of that movie. Please don't come at me, everybody who loves Tarantino. Okay, here's another one from one of the more boutique labels, Vinegar Syndrome. It's a title called New York Ninja. And the artwork's a little bit busy. It's kind of a lot going on. It's hard to see in the camera, but if you've seen the movie, it captures the spirit of the movie. This movie's a lot, and this is what you would call like a lost movie. And this is one of these magnetic cases where there's like a magnet built into there. Here, you pull it open, and then you pull the ribbon, and you can get all the goodies out. All kinds of stuff in here. Another book, The Story of How New York Ninja Came to Be by Curtis Spieler. Some great stuff here. A lot of great kind of articles. And this story, the reason why I'm putting this in a special category is because the story of this movie is just fantastic. It was an abandoned project. Look, more artwork. You get 3 sets of artwork, 4 sets of artwork with this. This was an abandoned movie that was never finished. And the people at Vinegar Syndrome found the footage, found the person who created the movie originally, didn't want anything to do with the production. It was a stain on his life, essentially, and recreated the movie with no audio from the original source. The original video that they found was film with no audio. So they basically dubbed this entire thing with no script, just guessed what the people were saying, watched the movie, and they got a series, like a number of named people to be in the movie as voices. Cynthia Rothrock, Don the Dragon Wilson, Linnea Quigley, Vince Murdocho, Leon Isaac Kennedy, Matt Mittler, Ginger Lynn Allen, and Michael Berryman. These are all the voices they used to recreate the movie from scratch. And the quality of the film is great for a lost film. And it is super fun and super, super weird. It's basically about a ninja in New York, as you might imagine, who is just trying to basically be a hero for the city. And it is one of the most low-budget run-and-gun guerrilla filming movies that I think I've ever seen. And it's crazy. And the guy, the New York Ninja, the titular New York Ninja, he throws like chalk eggs. It's like his defense mechanism or a weapon. Like he'll throw an egg at the person, it explodes into powder, and they're like, it never really does anything or helps him at all. And then one of the villains is, I can't remember if he has like a cane that's a sword or something like that, but he's got like a briefcase with a nuclear material inside. It's really bonkers. And again, this was all piecemeal together with no audio from the source. So the people at Vinegar Syndrome did their best to make a cohesive storyline with the video that they had. And it's something. It's wild. It's kind of up there with like Miami Connection, where it's like, this movie's bad, but the story behind it's great. And it just, there's something about it that makes you feel good when you're watching it. So this is one of my only Vinegar Syndrome purchases. I found out about it on Binge Movies. You can see I'm a fan of the show. I wore the shirt right here. One of my favorite shirts. Go check out Binge Movies. Always a pleasure there. I've done a number of competitions on there, last movie standings and whatnot. But they had the person who was responsible from Vinegar Syndrome for finding the footage and essentially restoring it. Jason had him on the show on Binge Movies for a full episode just talking about New York Ninja. As soon as it was over, I had to buy it. So that's New York Ninja, available from Vinegar Syndrome. Let's see, what's next? Okay, here's a fun one. Hellraiser, Quartet of Horror. This is one of the coolest box sets I've ever seen. This is great. This is the first 4 movies in the Hellraiser franchise. And there's a number of, there's this one with Pinhead or the Priest on the cover. And then there's an alternative version with the Chatterer, the guy with the teeth. Yeah, that one. Triggered a bunch of millennials who watched this movie too young. And then inside you have, here's the actual like movies, the movie box, and another very cool translucent slipcover. The thing I think is funny about this is that let me put this back on. This version right here looks like John Kramer from Saw, Jigsaw. It kind of looks like him when he's like tired and cancer riddled or whatever. But you pull it off and you have the skeleton underneath. And then on the inside of this set, here's the back. I am in hell, help me. On the inside, we have such sights to show you. And then you have all four of the movies here. Great box set. Very cool. 4-disc. I hate sets where they have the discs just kind of floating around in there. They're in like the chintzy little plastic teeth that hold it into place, and you know it's going to bang around and get screwed up. These ones where they're like specifically molded for the box, it just shows an extra level of care and like attention to the set. I know I'm in good hands when you have a good physical box. And then on top of that, well, the box itself has peek-throughs where you can see the skin behind it. On top of that, you have this great book, like a serial killer's manifesto. And it is hundreds of pages. Look how thick this is of articles. And it has, here's everything that's in here. Cast and crew, Hellraiser 2 cast and crew, Hellraiser 3 cast and crew. Surgeons of God, Steps on the Forbidden Path to Hellraiser, the Hellraiser original press kit, Hellraiser Faustus Endures, Hellraiser Hellbound, Hellraiser 2 press kit, another Underworld press kit for the 3rd one and the 4th one, Tracing a Troubled Heritage from Bloodline, Pinhead, a Study in Scarlet, and then About the Restorations. Again, if you're getting a whole section telling you about the restoration, you are in very good hands. Here's About the Restorations. Hellraiser is presented in its original aspect ratio of 1.85 to 1 with stereo 2.0 and 5.1 sound. The original 35mm camera negative was scanned and restored in 4K resolution at Silver Salt Restoration in London. Sections of a 35mm interpositive were also sourced for sections that had been removed from the negative. The film was graded in SDR, HDR10, and Dolby Vision by Silver Salt Restorations in London. That's just the first one, and they go through all 4 movies in this. This is a phenomenal box set. I actually bought this from, I think it was Ken. Yeah, I think it was Ken. It was either Ken or Chad. I bought them from the Cinematics Facebook page. A lot of us sickos are in there, and I can't remember until I actually look at it. This is a while ago, and my mind is full of other useless trivia. But I bought it from a member from the Cinematics Facebook group because he ordered it and he got 2. He tried to send the extra one back, and they said, "Nah, just keep it." So I bought this off of him at a discounted price. It was great. Okay. Ooh, Angry Otter says, be careful opening that box. You may trigger the portal to hell. That's right. Angels to some, demons to others. All right, so this one is the Godzilla -1 special edition box set from Japan. I freaking love this movie. It's my favorite movie that year it came out. I want to say 2023. This one comes with a very cool box book. And as you might imagine, I can't read this. It's in Japanese. But that's okay, because there's lots of pictures. Look at this. That's pretty cool. Some set photos, alternative posters in here. Here's some more alternative posters. That's pretty slick. Let me skip through the oh, there's a cool one. Look at that one. That's a great poster. Ooh, I have an art print that's very similar to this. It's like the spines, Godzilla's spikes on his back, except for in mine, the whales are swimming through in between the spikes. And then here later in the book, here's different options for the color version, and then Godzilla -1 color, different scene comparatives. And then, maybe it's not in this book. I could have sworn in this book there's also diagrams. Let's see here. No, I guess not. Maybe it's this one. Oh, yeah, it's this one. Here's another book. Very cool book. Again, I have no idea what it says. I imagine Godzilla -1. Probably, and some other stuff. And this is the drawings that the scientist used when trying to capture, basically tell everybody how they're going to capture Godzilla. Here's a little drawing in the bay, how they're going to use the bubbles to submerge him. Diagrams of the ship. All very cool. Look at this. It's like a map, topographical map of the harbor where they're going to capture Godzilla and kill him. So cool. So there's that, and then of course, obviously, the big physical set. If you unfold this one all the way, you get this great image. Look at this. That's so cool. Look at that image. In the inside, 4 discs. You have the 4K movie, the Blu Ray movie. I would imagine these two are probably special edition, special features. But I know that the Godzilla -1 color is also in here. And then this box itself has a physical texture to it. The grain of Godzilla's skin is present. You can't see it here, but you can see it in person. You can see all of like the dark patches where his, scales or whatever are on our texture. Really, really awesome. So this is one of my favorites. I love this. Love the movie. It looks fantastic in 4K. Angry Otter said something in the chat that I don't understand. Anadawa Nihongo Wakimarasen? Don't know what that means. I hope I don't get canceled for that, if that was something bad. Okay, and here's another one that I talked about on the show a number of times. The Werner Herzog collection. Very cool. And this is like a little book almost. This is also from Shout. I'm seeing this trend with this. Between Shout and Arrow, it's like almost all of these are from either Shout or Arrow, and then the VHSs are from Witter or Raven's Banner. I didn't quite realize that, but this is a really cool book, and it's got 11 movies. Even Dwarf Started Small, Land of Silence and Darkness, Fata Morgana, Aguirre, The Wrath of God, The Enigma of Caspar Hauser, Heart of Glass, Stroskek, Wojciech, Nosferatu the Vampire, Fitzcarraldo, Ballad of the Little Soldier, Where the Green Ants Dream, Cobra Verde, Lessons of Darkness, Little Dieter, Needs to Fly, and My Best Fiend. Special features also, audio commentaries on just about all of them. Werner Herzog and Lorenz Straub in German with English subtitles, a conversation. The Making of Nosferatu the Vampire, Portrait, Werner Herzog, a documentary. Herzog in Africa, a documentary, and then all the theatrical trailers. So the runtime of this whole set, interesting because they actually give you the runtime of all of everything together, is 1,561 minutes. That's bang for your buck. Let's see what that is. 1,501 divided by 60. That's 25. That's more than a day. It's 25 hours and some change. More than a day's worth of watching on here. I'm 4 movies into this. I haven't even scratched the surface of it yet. I bought this on Amazon. It was recommended to me. I was buying, I don't know what it was, a flashlight or something. And it popped up. I'm like, ooh, that's a pretty cool looking box set. I haven't seen like almost any of these movies. I've seen a few Werner Herzog movies, but none of these. And I was like, well, I've been wanting to watch. Oh, you know what? I have seen Nosferatu the Vampire. I wanted to watch Fitzcarraldo, and I had a hard time finding it anywhere else. So I got this, and this is a great coffee table piece. Look at that. Look how thick this is. And the cool thing is, too, in addition to all the actual physical stuff, before you watch each movie, you can read a little bit about it, and it gives you a primer for the movie you're about to watch. Really, really cool stuff. And then each of the discs themselves are very nicely presented here in these slip cases. Very secure. No risk of them flipping around. Not a huge fan of the disc side down kind of rubbing on this, but I feel like I really haven't had a disc skip in a long time. I feel like the technology is better to prevent that. So that's that. And then lastly, the mother of all physical medias from last year. Not all these released last year, but I got them all recently within the last year and a half or maybe 2 years or so. But this is the big honkin' beast of them all. And then here it is. The Super Mario box set from Umbrella Entertainment. Holy shit. Look at this thing. Here's the back set. The back artwork, I should say. Here's the spine. And the artwork on the outside, I'm not like super in love with this. It's pretty minimal. There's not much to it. This is called the Trust the Fungus Special Edition set. But what you get in it is just amazing. So you have art cards. I'm not going to pull these out because they're a pain in the ass to get in, but these are stills from the movie. These are collector series caps by Slamco. They're not actually caps. These are stickers. But I think at one point this was like a physical thing that you could buy. Lights, Camera, Fungus. Exclusive behind-the-scenes extras and secrets. This is a new official movie magazine from Umbrella, made specifically for this. There you go. John Leguizamo. And I have a brain fart. Bob Hoskins as Mario. Here's some mask work for some of the monster stuff. A lot of interesting stuff here. The actual movie, Trust the Fungus. There's the front work. This is also hand-drawn artwork. I don't hate it. I'm just not. I think I've seen a lot of other stuff that I love more. But it's really hard to argue with just how much you get with this set. 3 discs here. It's a 4K UHD plus Blu Ray transfer, all from the original negatives. Extra scenes put in. Like the deleted scenes and whatnot are available for this. And then here, Super Mario Bros. The scripts. And this is the entire work script of the movie. And then an interview. This is an interview with Parker Bennett. Let's see who Parker Bennett is. Super Mario Bros. By Parker Bennett and Terry Runt. Parker Bennett and Terry Runt were given the daunting task of wrangling Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel's revitalized concepts for the Super Mario Bros. Into a cohesive story. Their creativity and drive to make the intriguing screenplay led to an intense collaborative effort with the directors, resulting in a story that laid the foundation for the rest of the project. Oh, so these were like actual producers of the movie. Interesting. Obviously, I haven't read through this whole thing, the script and this interview. I spot read some stuff in the interview, and it's really interesting. And then on top of all that, you get this book, This Ain't No Game, a collection of behind-the-scenes experiences and art. In the back cover, De-Evolve. And this is the real cool stuff. These are concept arts, unused designs for Koopa's Queen. Here's some more concept art, closer to the reality of what the movie was. There's concept art for the cars, the way that the underworld was supposed to look like. And the actual production of this movie was so checkered. It was so difficult. So difficult to produce, and there's so many compromises. Here's some stuff with the little dinosaurs. Live snake on set. Production stuff from the actual underworld. Dinotopia or Dinolopolis or whatever it's called. Really, really interesting stuff. And just more information and more like opinion pieces and behind the scenes and stuff you never would have even thought of. Again, gives you a really interesting... Oh, here's some interesting stuff. Here's some concepts for the Goombas and the Koopas. They're all mushroom-based, so they had various levels of freakiness and playfulness to these creatures. And what we got was, God, who knows what. I love this movie. It is wild. Some days I watch it and I love it and I think it's a great movie, and some days I watch it because it's so bad. And it's so weird for me to say that because I can never figure out where I come down on it, to be honest. And then in this same box set, there also comes a still from the movie, which is really interesting. It's an actual frame. It's nothing super interesting. It's from the title screen, Super Mario Brothers. So, anyways, I'll put that all back together in a little bit because there's like 10 things to make sure they go in the right order, plus fit the frame in the right spot. But this is a fantastic set. I love Umbrella. They make a bunch of great stuff. I got an FP box set from them that has all 4 movies of the FP franchise in there. And what was the other one? Head Count from the Burkhart brothers. That's a great movie. We had them on the show about a year and a half ago or so, maybe a year ago. I think they were one of our first guests that we had on when we went to video, and it was kind of a technical disaster. Unfortunately, I feel really bad about that. But we were still really in our infancy with video guests and whatnot. And but the movie I really loved, and the only place you could get it on DVD was through Umbrella, and it's an Australian company. As much as I love them, the shipping from Australia to the United States is almost prohibitive. So I have to wait. I can't like pre-order things as I want them. I have to wait for like 3 or 4 things so I can get the free shipping for like over $100 or $125 or whatever. So I got to wait and kind of amass an order and then order one thing all at once instead of, I'm going to pre-order that thing from the cell. And then, okay, yeah, now they have one from the fall. It's, okay, I got to wait. I got to wait until I can do enough to get the free shipping. So, Angry Otter's got some stuff. Have you seen the movie They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper? Yes. And I know that there's a great Arrow physical release for it. I love the concept of that movie, and I love certain scenes from that movie more than the entire movie itself. I think Rowdy Roddy Piper is great in it. I think Keith David is great in it. I'm pretty sure I can get that name right. And I love John Carpenter in general. It's just not my favorite of his. I think that there's some really cool stuff in there, but as a whole, the movie leaves me a little bit to be desired. So I wouldn't say it's a bad movie by any stretch. It's just not my favorite of his. So, but yeah, there's a great physical release from Arrow, that box set with the hand-drawn art and everything too. So, anyways, that's pretty much everything that I have to cover. It's been, holy shit, it's been an hour and 7 minutes. I made it. We're there. So hopefully you guys are not sick of hearing me chat at this point, and next week we'll get back with some normal stuff. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and then I am still going to do some streaming picks. So give me about 10 minutes or so. I'm going to grab some water, rest my voice box for a second, and then I'll come back and I'll do, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of streaming picks, and then we'll be done. So if you're still on the live stream, go ahead and sit tight, and we'll all be back for the second half in a little bit. Until next time. Thank you for joining me solo. It's not the first time. I think I did all the movies I watched in 2023 solo edition for Christmas when we were on Christmas break. That was a lot of fun, and this was a lot of fun. So join us later on today if on the stream in like 10 minutes or so, or in a couple days if you're on the podcast or YouTube later stream as I do some streaming picks. Had some fun ones from this week, so stick around. Thanks to all the Patreon members and for everybody in the chat. We'll see you next time. There we go. Hello, classmates. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete, on another solo venture for some, I guess all we're going to be doing is streaming picks.
Movies.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
Stream picks, movies that we watched on our streaming services, or I guess I did, this week that you can watch on yours too. So again, if you didn't watch the first half or listen to the first half this week, I'm flying solo. Joseph and Tyler are sick. Tyler was out sick last week, and he's still not 100% better, and Joseph has descended into some sort of congestion, body ache, head cold sort of hell. So I'm still here, and if you didn't watch last episode or listen, I gave you a rundown of a lot of my favorite physical media pieces from my collection, from various types: Blu Ray, 4K, box sets, VHS, even a vinyl record from our pal David Rosen from Piecing It Together, and Awesome Movie Year. So that was fun. Go listen to that. There's some interesting stuff, some good stuff, some people you probably never even knew were still releasing VHS, like Witter and Broke Horror Fan and Raven Banner. So a lot of fun stuff there. So for right now, I am going to be going over the movies that I watched this week that are worth your time. So if you don't have Letterboxd, you should go get Letterboxd. It's an app, basically a social media movie watching app for movie aficionados. That's where me and Joseph, and to a lesser degree Tyler, all basically log our movies that we watch so we can look back at them at a later date and kind of give a concise idea of what we watched. And you can give a rating, give a review, or not, or just log them that you just saw them. Excuse me. So from this last week, I'm just going to go in order. This isn't from best to worst or anything. This is just in order that I watched them. So first off, streaming on Paramount Plus is where I watched it, but you can also watch it on Fubo and Canopy. It's a comedy, kind of a comedy sci-fi. I guess it's just more of a straight-up comedy called Extraordinary from 2019. Excuse me. And this is directed by Mike Ahern and Enda Loughman, who I'd never heard of before, but it's starring Maeve Higgins, who's Australian. This is an Australian production. Barry Ward and Will Forte. So this is about a driving instructor who is, she's like Claire, she can speak to the dead, and she has to use her otherworldly gifts to save a lonely man's daughter from a rock star looking to use her for satanic purposes. And Will Forte plays this washed-up pop star. He's more of a pop star than a rock star. He's like a one-hit wonder guy, and he has this ridiculous song that's gets stuck in your head. And he's no longer famous, and he basically sells his soul to the devil to get famous again, to win it back, his fame and fortune. And his like romantic interest / the woman who is kind of also in his like flock or his cult or whatever is her name. She's played by Claudia O'Doherty, and she is another great Australian comedian. Hey, thanks, Dallas. See you later, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. But she's another great Australian comedian who was on the TV show called Love with Paul Rust and Gillian Jacobs. And she's really funny. She's a smaller part in this, but she's great. And this kind of feels like something that would be, there was a spin-off show from the What We Do in the Shadows movie called What We Do in the Shadows. And then there was a spin-off show from that called Wellington Paranormal, which is like a New Zealand-based police officer group that is almost like an X-Files type group where they deal with the paranormal. And it's vampires and werewolves and ghosts and things like that. And it's very cheeky and very fun and kind of goofy and, you know, not too heavy lifting. That's pretty much in the vein of this. But Will Forte's being his ridiculous self. He's playing a character that's super fun. And Maeve Higgins, she plays Rose Dooley, who's like the main character, whose dad was a clairvoyant, and she is too. But she just doesn't want to do it anymore because it caused too much problem in her life than it was worth. And she's the main character. But this is really fun. The poster is something I scrolled by a million times, and Brianna wanted to watch it finally, and It's not amazing, but it is a very fun watch. So it's a good like weeknight movie with, you can watch this with the kids, maybe the slightly older kids. There's some sexual stuff, jokes in it, but nothing like overtly like physically shown. It's just kind of like an out of nowhere, very hard-edged joke that is kind of off the beaten path from the main tone of the movie. So it's more like kind of shock sort of a thing. But yeah, so that's Extraordinary, streaming on Paramount Plus and Fubo, where I watched it on Paramount Plus. Next to one was a movie that I got as a gift from listener of the show, my Aunt Linda. And she gifted me this movie called Double Indemnity from 1944. So we had her on the show talking about, what movie was it? It was a Humphrey Bogart movie where he plays the villain. Can't remember the name of it now, but entertaining, good, interesting. She is my like kind of hookup for classic silent era black and white movies and classic noirs and classic, really anything like classic Hollywood, pre-code era, mid-code era. And she gave me this movie, Double Indemnity, 1944. It's streaming right now in the Criterion Collection. I just watched it on DVD. You can rent it for like $4 on YouTube or anywhere else. But this is a very, very, very classic, almost prototype noir. And it has Fred McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck as the main two. Edward Jean Robinson also is in this as a smaller part. And the tagline says, a rich woman and a calculating insurance agent plot to kill her unsuspecting husband after he signs a double indemnity policy. So double indemnity is basically on a life insurance policy in the rare event that you have a very rare type of death. The policy pays double. So in this case, it's falling off a train is the thing. So they essentially, this insurance agent goes to sell a car insurance policy or re-up a car insurance policy to this man, and he's not home, but his like stay-at-home trophy wife is, and she's seducing him, and he's kind of coming on to her, and they're both kind of scumbags. And then they decide to sign him up for a policy without his knowledge, forge his signature, and then kill him to get the money, and then split the money, and then they're going to run off together in the sunset. And of course, there's a double cross, and then there's another double cross, and it's an interesting sort of cat and mouse sort of thing with the insurance agent who's trying to prove that it's a fraudulent case. And in doing so, it's not just proving that they don't have to pay out this double payout, but they're also proving that this was basically a murder. They actually think it goes back and forth between thinking it's a suicide and a murder. So it's really interesting, and it's dripping with style. It's dripping with that classic Hollywood way of talking, and he constantly infantilizes the woman, even though he's, trying to basically take her as his next conquest. Calls her baby at every single sentence. It's, "Don't worry, baby, we're gonna get away with this, baby." And there's a lot of great shots in this that are just done by the great Billy Wilder, directed by the great Billy Wilder. So, you're imagine that the shot composition is fantastic. The setups for everything is great. There's a scene near the end where the main character of Walter Neff is the guy's name, and he comes into her house, and it's nighttime. The scene is lit by fire, and he comes in the door in like the background, and his shadow enters the room before him. This great silhouette of him with the fedora on and, the big broad shoulders, and he walks in. And then she essentially turns on him, has got the gun out and shoots him or whatever. And it's like, it's a great movie. This is about as classic as you get for classic Hollywood when you're talking about that detective noir double cross sort of thing. So again, Double Indemnity from 1944, directed by Billy Wilder. This is streaming on the Criterion channel if you have that. Next up, movie that I watched on Amazon Prime. This is starring, let's see here, Ed Helms, John Hamm, Jeremy Renner, Jake Johnson, Hannibal Buress, Isla Fisher, Rashida Jones, Leslie Bibb, and a couple other people you might recognize. This is called Tag, T-A-G, Tag. And this is a story based on a true story, which is bizarre. about a group of friends, childhood friends, that have been playing the same game of tag for 30 years. And for the month of May every year, tag is live, and they will essentially find each other in life wherever they are. If one of them moves out of town or out of this area and they lose contact or whatever, they're still going to go find the person and tag one of their friends. And it's like there's 5 of them. It's Jeremy Renner, Hannibal Buress, Ed Helms, Jake Johnson, and John Hamm. And they're in various states of their life. Some of them are very successful. Some of them are like mysterious and like elusive. Some of them are just living their life and trying to cope. And all of a sudden you might find your friend, he's dressed up as in a different outfit, and he catches you on the golf course and tags you. And you're like, oh shit, I'm it. And you can't just tag him back, you have to tag somebody else. So now it's like you have to go out and find your other friend. So the Angry Otter signs off, tag is such a fun movie, or great movie, he says. And it is. This is a really fun movie. Way better than I was expecting. Probably 3.5 star movie. Maybe even more if you're in the right mood, but it's way better than you would expect. And I almost feel like I don't know when Jeremy Renner became an action dude. I know he already had the Hurt Locker in like 2011 or something like that. And then The Town in 2012, I want to say. But I don't know when he made it to Marvel, like a proper action star. But this was in 2018, so it had to have been after all that. But he fits the part really well because he is the guy who has not been tagged once. Of all their friends, he has not been tagged once. So they're like, Jerry has never been tagged. This is the year we're going to tag Jerry. And Ed Helms says, I'm going to quit the game, but we got to tag Jerry. And he is like untaggable. Like he plans for it. He has exit routes planned. He doesn't do anything during the month of May unless he basically has a way to get out and to avoid being tagged. And sure enough, something happens and he's actually getting married in May. His new bride-to-be, every woman in her family has been married in May for their entire lineage or something like that, and she has to do it, and she understands the game and blah, 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 but she's going to do it in May. So they form a truce. No tagging at the ceremony, no tagging at the rehearsal dinner, but everything else is open game. And the stakes get higher and higher and higher in this, and the subterfuge and the kind of trickery at play to be able to tag one of the friends is so interesting and fun. I was really, really, really kind of shocked by how fun this was and good this was. So this is one you can just kind of turn your brain off. The stakes are very low, and the message is surprisingly good. I won't say exactly what the message is, but it is schmaltzy and cheesy, at the heart of it all. But I think the message is pretty good about friendship and, what it means to stay in touch and the things you do and that kind of stuff. And at the very end, they show the real life guys playing tag. And it's really interesting because they're all like fully grown middle-aged men. So that's really fun. So that's Tag from 2018. That's streaming on Amazon Prime. Very accessible. Next up is a rewatch for me. A movie that Joseph and I did a review on early last year, early in the YouTube days, starring Jason Statham, The Beekeeper. So Jason Statham has done The Mechanic. He's done The Beekeeper. And now he's doing a movie called A Working Man, where he's just a guy. He's just a working stiff. He's going through all these different trades to be. He was the transporter before that too. He's taking all these like working man jobs and turning them into like action stars. And Beekeeper was super fun in theaters. I want to say I gave it 3.5 in theaters, and I gave it 4 stars just on this last rewatch. It knows 100% what it is. It is very fun. It is a really good time. And Jason Statham is one of these guys that does this almost the same character in every movie, and it never gets old. So if you disagree with that statement, you're not going to like The Beekeeper. If you agree with that statement, go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. It is a lot of fun. My only critique about the movie, well, I got 2. Number 1. Angry Otter says, Jason Statham's next movie after that, Just a Dude. Number one, my first critique with The Beekeeper, not enough bee puns. There are plenty of bee puns in this movie. I could use like double or triple the amount of bee puns. There's a number of times where somebody says something like, "What are you gonna do?" I protect the hive, and you're like, okay, that's kind of cute, kind of fun. And then he makes a lot of allusions to how bees operate as a society and how that correlates to the task at hand, and how he's gonna be a queen killer and take down the queen who's got a defective offspring or whatever. And it's like, it's super goofy and dumb and fun, but I could use more of those bee puns. My other critique with the movie is that there are two very cool villains. There's also, what is his name? Josh something or other. What the hell is his name? Josh, let me look him up here. He's from the Hunger Games and Five Nights at Freddy's. Josh Hutcherson. He also plays a douchebag, like lead villain sort of guy. And he's good, very hateable in this. But the two like over the top villains in this is this other assassin beekeeper woman who attacks him at a gas station, and it's just like full on, all out John Wick times Smoking Aces divided by Kate. That energy. I could have used more of her. She's in one scene and then she's quickly removed from the scene. And then there's another villain at the end whose character's name is Lazarus. And he is so freaking cool. He's, I want to say South African. He's playing South African in it, so I don't know what he really is. His the actor's name is Taylor James. Apparently he's British. Yeah, he's British, but he's playing a South African, and he's great. He's so great in this. And he's another one where he's only in like one or two fight scenes, and then he's gone. I'm like, man, I could have used him for like the entire movie. He could have been the main protagonist. I want a Lazarus prequel for this movie. So freaking cool. So anyways, that's The Beekeeper on Amazon Prime. A great PSA for phishing scams. Angry Otter says, a good Josh Hutcherson movie that's just as silly is called Detention. I don't think I know that one. Let's see here. Detention. 2011. Josh Hutcherson, Shanley Caswell, and Spencer Locke. As a copycat killer named after the movie villain Cinderella stalks the student body at Grizzly Lake High School, a group of co-eds band together to survive while surfing detention. Oh, I've seen this cover before. Looks interesting. 5.6 on IMDb. It could be a disaster. Could be fun. All right, I'll add that to my watch list for you. Okay, next up that I watched this week, streaming on Max, is a new release movie from 2024 called Your Monster. And this is another one that's quote-unquote based on a true story that's clearly not really based on a true story. It's just like a person had a breakup. It was a really bad breakup. And then the rest of it's all fake and made up for the movie. But basically the plot of this movie is that this woman, she gets cancer. She goes through treatment and surgery. And while she's actively in cancer treatment, she's in New York, Broadway performer. Her boyfriend / director of this new upcoming movie, showrunner, breaks up with her during her cancer treatment and basically says, I need to focus on myself. You need a full-time care person, and I can't be that person. Total douche nozzle, just a total dickhead. And the main character in this, Melissa Barrera, plays the woman who has cancer. And then she gets out of the hospital and is like basically starting her life over with a fresh breakup of this long-term relationship and trauma from basically just nearly escaping death from this cancer. So when she comes home, she hears a noise in her closet, and there's a monster in her closet played by Tommy Dewey. Tommy Dewey, who also is in a movie that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And this actor, he plays the monster. He is so fucking charismatic and charming that he makes the whole movie. And to be honest, Melissa Barrera is great in this. Like, I was not a huge fan of her in the Scream series, but in this, she's very good. She's charismatic and magnetic, and she's sympathetic, all those things. But the monster is super, super charming. And he is her childhood monster. He is the monster that's lived in her closet for her whole life. So he knows all about her, and he like follows her and cares about her and stuff. But in all reality, he just wants her out of the house because he likes living alone. That's basically it. And he essentially becomes this friend that she needs in this tough time as she continues with the Broadway production that her ex is running. She gets a part in the show. And of course, that's not good. That's not healthy for the two of them in their non-relationship. And as you can imagine, she starts falling in love with the beast, and things happen, and it takes some turns, and it went in places that I didn't really expect. But ultimately, this was really good. This was really good. And this is sweet. It's charming. It's heartwarming. It's really funny. It's way funnier than I was expecting. And it's like the concept sounds bad. It sounds kind of cheesy. It's like, it could be interesting, but this could be cheesy. And it's good. It's really good. This is the good one. So this is streaming, again, on Max. You can watch this with your parents. You could watch this with your kids of just about any age. Maybe not really little kids. They wouldn't really understand a lot of the relationship stuff. But, 12 years old and up, or maybe even 10. I mean, it's not scary. It's really not sexually inappropriate so much. I mean, there's a little bit of sexuality or whatever. But all in all, it's just a really good movie. So it came out last year. I heard good reviews about it, but really not a whole lot of people talking about it. And I watched it with Brianna, and it was great. So check that out on Max. All right. I'm not going to talk about Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I watched that on physical media. I have a 4K of that. It is on MGM Plus, but man, it's a fantastic movie. The editing, the production design, and just the vision of it all is so freaking good. So if you haven't seen it yet, watch it. If you have already, watch it again. It's great. Next up, I watched The King from 2019, a Netflix-produced movie starring Timothée Chalamet. Also has Joel Edgerton in it in a kind of a main role. Sean Harris, Tom Glenn Carney, who you'd recognize but probably don't know the name. Lily Rose Depp, Thomasin McKenzie, Robert Pattinson, and Ben Mendelsohn. And Robert Pattinson plays an insane French prince. And Timothée Chalamet plays the King Henry. I think it's King Henry VIII or something like that. Henry V, maybe. And this is a beautifully produced movie. It's a really, really great looking movie that unfortunately is just kind of dull in a lot of places. And then it has some really fantastic scenes. So as I was watching it, I kept thinking to myself, man, if I was British, I'd be loving this, because it's like all these characters are historical figures to me that I don't have any connection to. I feel like if I was British, I'd be like, oh shit, that's Woodrow Wilson beating the shit out of fucking Alexander Hamilton or something like that. But in reality, it's, King Henry V beating up some Duke of Earl or some shit like that. And it's like, I don't know these people. I don't really care. So all in all, though, the movie is great. It's a little long. It's 2 hours and let's see if I can get the actual runtime here. I want to say 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 35 or something like that. Didn't feel that long, surprisingly, for how, for what I just said, because every scene has great costume design, great set design. The cinematography in it is fantastic. It's directed by David Michaud or Michaud. I'm not sure. It's Michod, but the O's got like a carrot on top of it or whatever. Who directed The Rover, which I really love, with Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson and Scoot McNairy. That one is like post-apocalyptic Australian outback. I think it's in the Australian outback. And I won't say what the name The Rover means, but Guy Pearce is on a mission, and he runs into Robert Pattinson, who plays kind of he's slow. He's mentally not all there. And I think this is one of the earlier movies that I saw Pattinson in and thought, okay, yeah, he's good. He's not just a Twilight guy or a Harry Potter character. He's really good. That's from 2014. But The King, 2019, really good. I'm not a fan of Pattinson's accent in this work. His accent and work in this is pretty rough. It's like a comic book almost. which is funny because Chalamet speaks French. He is French, I think, and he could be doing the French stuff, but obviously then he wouldn't be the lead character. And it's also, there's a lot of great hand-to-hand combat in this movie. And then the other thing that I think is interesting is that all of these kind of like lords and stuff historically were very young, and they cast a bunch of young people for it. So these like hand-to-hand combat between like the lord of this land and the new king and stuff are basically kids that are like 21 or under. You know, I think they're supposed to be 17, 18 or whatever, but they're young guys. And all like the peasants around them basically there to support, and you know, if there becomes a battle or whatever, they're there. But it's like these young freaking kids leading these armies, which is, I guess, accurate. So that's The King, streaming on Netflix. It is a Netflix production, so it'll probably be there for a while. And then the last movie I watched, which I thought was great and I didn't expect to like, was Saturday Night from 2024. That's, again, streaming on Netflix as well. And the pacing in this movie and the stress induction is really kind of masterful. It's really impressive. Basically, this is the story of the first episode of Saturday Night Live going to air. And as you can imagine, it's told through the perspective of Lorne Michaels, played by Gabrielle LaBelle in this. Gabrielle LaBelle. Rachel Sennott plays his wife. Corey Michael Smith plays Chevy Chase. Ella Hunt plays Gilda Radner. Dylan O'Brien plays Dan Aykroyd. Emily Farron plays Lorraine Newman. Matt Wood plays John Belushi. Lamorne Morris plays Garrett Morris. Are they related? There's no way. There's no way they're related. But he plays a really good Garrett Morris. And then basically all the people that you would imagine who are characters that you know, named people now who were in the first episode of Saturday Night Live are portrayed in this. And if you focus on whether or not they look or act like the characters in real life, like the people in real life, you might get bogged down a little bit with it. But this is just kind of a chaotic, psychopathic look at the way this show, this iconic show, came to be, and how it almost did not come to be because of just how chaotic it was. Angry Otter says, a very believable John Belushi. He did look a lot like him. I think a number of them do pretty good. There's a guy that does Billy Crystal in this too. Let me see if they can find out who is Nicholas Braun. Nicholas Braun does Andy Kaufman, and he also does Jim Henson. Jim Henson, who I don't think even made it to the movie or into the actual episode or whatever, but he plays both of those characters in this, and he's really good. Finn Wolfhard. Where is Milton Berle? J.K. Simmons plays Milton Berle. Willem Dafoe plays David Tebbutt, who's like the lead of NBC, the head of NBC. Okay, here it is. Nicholas Podany plays Billy Crystal, and his Billy Crystal is really good. Like, I was looking away when he was first on scene, and I'm like, oh, that's got to be Billy Crystal. I look up, and it kind of looks like a young Billy Crystal, but his the cadence is perfect. So there's a mixed bag of, I guess, impressions or iterations of these like famous comedians. None of that really bothered me because the pacing of this and like the idea that they were set up to fail was so freaking good. This is directed by Jason Reitman, who I've heard is kind of a piece of shit. I don't know really anything about him specifically that makes that the case, but he directed Totally Up in the Air, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Juno, Thank You for Smoking, Young Adult. I don't know anything about him and like his personal life or whatever, but this was a pretty damn good movie, Saturday Night. And for an iconic show like that that's been running for, I don't know how long it's been now, 50 years maybe, something like that. It's 1975 was the first episode, October 11th, 1975. So I guess that's 75. Yeah, next year will be 50 years. That's wild. So I guess this year will be 50 years. So anyways, that's Saturday Night. It's streaming on Netflix, and that is worth your time. Anything else, fellas? Joseph, Tyler? No? Anybody? See if I have any Joseph.
Oh, perfect timing. You're here.
Yes, I am here, and you're not here. That's okay. Anyways, I appreciate Angry Otter for being in the chat. Thanks for everybody who is listening or watching this after the fact, not live. If you want to join us live, 12:30 every Saturday. It's a lot of fun. Normally, it's a lot more activity than this. It's Joseph and Tyler, the three of us together. And, we're very responsive to the chat. We're interactive with the listeners. We love the people who spend the time to listen to us. It means a lot. It makes it feel like it's worth it doing all this, for the last 5 years. So we really appreciate it. And then, of course, thank you to our cool-ass yard duties over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather, Michael, Steven, and Chris. And if you want to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, or just watch or listen to everything on YouTube. That helps too. So thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers. It really means a lot. Until next time. Thank you for joining us on me, I guess, for the solo episode. 2 episodes. Follow us next week as we review The Killing of a Sacred Deer, Tyler's pick from the Wheel of Destiny, in our ongoing quest to clear off the Wheel of Destiny before our big format change. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com. And follow us on TikTok and Instagram and pretty much everywhere else at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail, 209-283-1716. See you next time.